Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to draft a pattern block. And if you don't know what pattern blocks are, it is the most basic form of patterning. This does not have seam allowance and this only has a little bit of ease built in for just enough wiggle room to make the basic garment comfortable and fit your body, kind of like a glove. And in this case I'm doing a bodice block. The bodice block has all of the dart manipulation points, so if I want to shift one dart into another, get rid of darts, or create some really fancy darts, then I have all of the marking points on this block ready for me to use at any moment. So this block will be for my measurements. Let's jump right into patterning, and I will also show you the book that I use for reference whenever I kind of forget what I'm doing, because sometimes that happens. I referenced the pattern making book for fashion design by author Helen Joseph Armstrong. I've had this book for about 10 years. It has gone everywhere with me and it's starting to really show it. I picked this up the other day to begin drafting and the spine is starting to come loose, so at some point I'm going to have to get the duct tape out and start fixing this and securing it down before I lose my whole book. However, I do want to point out that if you're making a pattern block with your measurements, I don't advise using it for like a mass production, grading it up or down into other sizes, because it's going to be inaccurate to what standard sizing is in the industry. If you are wanting to use the pattern block for sizing up and down, definitely look for a chart with the measurements, the standardized measurements for, say, size medium or large, and then grading it up or down sizes that you want to provide for your customer. But if you're wanting to just make something for yourself, that is also absolutely possible with creating your own custom block. So every time I start drafting, I always lay down a vertical line first that basically is treated as an axis that all of my stuff is moved and pivoted from. And the first measurement I'm going to lay down is the measurement from the high point shoulder down to my waist. I don't know about you, but I am always shocked with how short my torso is. I don't know if you have a short torso, but I love high-waisted pants, and like there's like no such thing as too high of high waist because they never come up high enough. And but my waist to my shoulder measurement, I don't know, it always seems so stinking short. But anyways, that's the first measurement that I'm going to lay down on the paper, and then the next measurement is the measurement from the center of my back out to my shoulder. This will help me get the full width of what this pattern piece will be. The next thing I'm going to do is take my measurement from my waist and go up to basically right where my neck is. I like to take the measurement from where this bone is. It's the top of your sternum where your collarbones connect. I like to have my garment stop there, because if you try to go up here, it's too tight. You're going to choke yourself off or something. So this is where I like to stop that. So once I have my bust arc in, I'm going to go into my shoulder slope. And this is the area that I always get confused on. And I always find myself referencing the book, going back to the book again to make sure I did it right. And every time I get to this point, I just ask myself, why do I not just freehand this? Just freestyle drafting. Maybe one day I'll do a video of freestyle drafting and just see how it goes, because I've never really taken the time to do it. And it's like I've sewn so much and I have drafted patterns and given factories instruction on how to create whatever my design is. So I should be able to do it with no problem. I just haven't ever taken the time to do it. So maybe that'll be one of my future videos, is just freestyling and see how it is. See if I like it better than all of this so meticulous, like did you connect A to B to C to D kind of method. Next, I'm going to do my shoulder length. My shoulder, I put about 5 inches, so I go from the base of my neck to the tip of my shoulder. So basically, like right where your arm connects into underneath your collarbone. And then I back it off about 1/4 inch because you don't want your seam line to hit right there because it's going to look a little low. You want it to sit just slightly above and it's going to look really nice. Okay, so next I'm going to do the cross chest measurement. This is just right above the bust, and that is really going to help me find the placement of my armhole, how wide or deep it's going to be. If you've ever worn a sleeveless shirt and the armhole kind of protrudes out a little bit, it's because the bust is too tight. And if it's something you're making, then you should know, okay, let's bring that back in a little bit to help give the bust some room for that area and reduce the gaping that is happening at the armhole. So this is what's going to help that. All right, so now I'm going to go into doing my waist darts. I will be honest here, I was really being lazy when I was doing this, basically knowing that I'm going to be doing a fitting, so I just kind of threw some shapes in there, and yes, looking at my directions and making sure that they were similar to what I've done in the past, so it shouldn't be too far off. I also gave myself a little extra room everywhere basically on this pattern, just because I like to have more fabric in a fitting than too little fabric. I've been in many fittings where it's too tight and you have to add in, and you've got pins everywhere and strips of fabric everywhere, and then you've got your pen or pencil out trying to make sense of where your seam line should be. So I just prefer to you just tuck, 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 pin, 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 and then you mark it and lay it on the paper and transfer. It's so much easier. So I'm kind of intentionally making this thing too big just to be easy, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now it's going to go into the back bodice. It's basically the same thing except for you don't have your bust to worry about. So everything's going to be a lot flatter, a little more simple, and of course, yes, I got confused again on my shoulder slope area. I don't know what it is about that. It's every time I lay it down, nothing makes sense. Nothing pivots in the area that it should be pivoting, so I always end up questioning myself, and then throwing my hands up and say, you know what, like I said earlier, like you just figure it out in the fitting. All right, now that I have front and back pieces, it's time to cut them out, sew them together, and give it a little try on. So I'm going to switch the cameras around so that way you can see me trying to fit myself. I have no one around to help me do a fitting, so it'll be a lot of acrobats, or not acrobats, but it'll be a lot of like, what are those people in the carnival that like contortionists? Is that what it's called? Yeah, especially whenever it comes to the back darts and the center back seam and the whole thing basically is going to be a show. So let me just switch the cameras around a little bit and I will show you that process as well. Okay, that's about as best I can do by myself. If the audio is a little off, it's because I don't have my mic set up. But so I've pinned out on my shoulder, I've pinned out a bust dart. The side seam, it's a little wonky because, well, my pin just fell out. But I know to take in about 1 inch from the side seam, maybe 1.5 inches. And then the back, I will take in about maybe about 1/2 inch on the dart. It's really hard to fit yourself because you risk all of your pins falling out because you're moving around. I think I've been stabbed 3 times now. Make that 4 times because it just went in my back. But I mean, it's a little wonky, but I pretty much memorized all the places that need to be taken in and shaped. But so now that I've kind of figured out what needs to be taken in and shaped and just straightened out a little bit, I'm going to take this off, and I'm only going to take the right side and transfer it because the patterns are made for the right side of the body, and then cut out a new pattern, cut out some more muslin, and try it on again and see how well it fits. So I'm going to do that and try to get myself out of this contraption that I've put myself in and keep working. Okay, now that I got myself out of this crazy contraption of a fitting, I just want to kind of show you what it looks like and talk through it in a short amount of time. So the marks here are where my ideal armhole will be. This one I decided it was a little too low, so I'm going to bump it up about 3/4 of an inch and then smooth it out to the side seam. Sorry for the horrible lighting. My apartment is the worst lit apartment I've ever lived in, so these shadows and stuff sometimes are very hard to get rid of. Hopefully in a future apartment I'll have a better setup, so just bear with me. And then you can see on my side seam, because I couldn't reach and my fabric was moving around on me, this is skewed. So I'm going to take the measurement of how deep this is and apply it straight, and that should sort it out. And then kind of the same thing happened on my shoulder. Again, it's from me trying to fit myself, and it's a difficult task to do, but everything is really skewed and twisted. So again, I'm just going to take this measurement and then open this up and then mark where those measurements are and then taper in, because this is not your typical fitting. And then on my bust darts, those worked out pretty well, not horrible, and so it'll be nice to see what was really needed for the dart compared to, it'll be nice to see what was really needed for the dart in comparison to what I had patterned. And like I mentioned before, when I was patterning, I was just kind of doing a big guesstimation. I wasn't really trying to be perfect. And then this is my center back seam, and I have a little bit of a back dart. It looks like I pinched out maybe 1 inch, but I might back it off just a little bit because I don't think that it was really needed to be that deep. And I just want to show how I very comically got myself out of my muslin without taking out the pins. So this fold line is my center front. So I just took my scissors and just went zoop all the way up, because I'm not going to be using this again. I could have if I had somebody here to mark all of my pins and then remove them so I could easily take this thing off. But we have to be a little bit wasteful this time. So I just cut myself out of it, and I'm going to go over and transfer all of my my measurements and notes and stuff onto the pattern itself and then cut out a new one and try it on. So I'm gonna go do that and I'll see you at the next fitting. Okay, so a little bit better of an angle, still horrible lighting, but whatever. So basically this is what it looks like after taking it in and making all the shoulder adjustments, the side adjustments. So I ended up taking an inch here and only a 1/4 inch here, and then I adjusted my darts to be in the right spot. The darts that I originally put in were too big, basically just draping the darts on as the mock-up was on me was easier than putting in darts, then be completely wrong, and then just being frustrated. But then the back is also looking really nice. So again, my armhole, it could bear with being about 3/4 of an inch lower here, because that's what's causing all of this pulling and gaping. And then this I'm probably going to take in about to here, so that's about a 1/2 inch. And I mean, so it's just about right, because I think I accidentally put seam allowance on my armholes, even though I'm not having a sleeve in there today. So it should be good. A pretty nice turnout for just one adjustment. Tweak the armhole a little bit more, but overall not horrible. And then obviously, like I said, drop this down about 3/8 of an inch so it's not choking me as much. And then, I don't know, you can probably see, if I just go like this, you can see the back neck rising up. So adding little darts there and then working them out through dart manipulation, and it should be good to go. Okay, so now I'm to the point where it is probably one of my favorite parts of patterning, and that is after a fitting, transferring all of my notes onto my pattern piece. So anywhere that I have tapered it from 0 to an inch or whatever it may be, I get to transfer all of this to my pattern and smooth everything out, adjust my seam allowances to about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch in some areas, just in case I made a mistake and took in too much. I can let it back out. But I feel pretty confident in the fitting, even though it was pretty skewed, and that all just comes from having to twist and turn while you're trying to fit yourself, and knowing that whatever you're pinching out needs to be adjusted to be perfectly straight, and nothing has to really be pivoted out. So and then once I get all these adjustments done, I'm going to cut out another muslin, because since I did cut my last muslin up the front to get myself out, I'm going to cut out another one, and this time I'm going to try it inside out, just so I can see my seam allowances and easily pin out if I decide to, and see how it goes. But sometimes I like to fit things inside out. If you are someone who is asymmetrical, this won't work on you, because your left will be on your right whenever you have it inside out. So now that I have this roll of paper out, I wanted to show you what it was like. And I gotta get my scissors out here. Oh, it's not gonna do anything. So oh man, it's kind of like, I don't know how to describe this, but it's pretty thick paper. You could use multimedia paper to create a block. Those come in rolls, but I'm gonna have to look back on my Amazon order to see what they called this, because I want to say it's either manila or tack paper or something. So once I go online and look at my past orders, I will put the link in the description below, and also just put the name right here somewhere on the screen for you to know what the heck I'm talking about. So I'm going to cut off a section of this. Obviously it's gonna be really curly, so I'm gonna kind of take a dry iron, no steam or anything, and try to flatten it out first, because otherwise it's gonna be a pain to trace these onto, and then also place all of my dart manipulation points on there for future use. I might do the dart points on these first and then just have an easy transfer here, because I don't want to mess these up once they're done. So yeah, I'm gonna go do those few things and I'll be back. And just like that, I can put it on my pattern hooks and have them ready whenever I need them. And this is probably why they call it the rabbit, is because it leaves things behind. LOL. One time I punched a hole in a bunch of things and then I completely forgot that I did that. Weeks later I went to move this and it just went like everywhere like confetti. So maybe that's why it is called the rabbit. Other than just the shape, it leaves little things behind. Alright, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too long. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment below. If you have questions, do the same. And sorry, my face is not in here. I'll probably do a formal goodbye. But okay, I'm finally done. Yay! So I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope it inspires you to start patterning for yourself and sewing for yourself. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. And if you would like to, feel free to subscribe to this channel. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.